Feora, priestess of the flame. Forged in the blessed fires of faith, Feora is known for her iron will and blazing temper. An unfathomable vessel of wrathful power, she demonstrates the ferocity of battle that is without compare. She is a living example of the temple flame guard who attend her with absolute devotion. Feora was a child when she first manifested her affinity for and control over flames. Recognizing her ability as a gift directed by the hand of the Creator, her prominent family quickly stifled any disparaging rumors that her powers might be sorcerous in nature and therefore impure. They had long been associated with the Temple Flame Guard and arranged for their young daughter to be tutored by the Order's most influential and powerful clergy. Ultimately, Feora entered the ranks of the Insidium, a specialized body of the priesthood dedicated to the Temple Flame Guard. Due to her exceptional abilities, Feora was chosen to receive both spiritual training and martial instruction. As Feora's talent as a warcaster developed, several scrutators took particular interest in the powerful young woman, who in time became a preeminent leader among the temple's martial defenders. When the standing priest of the flame passed on to his rewards in Urkane, Feora was chosen to lead the Flame Guard. She prepared her temple for war since the day of her appointment and was instrumental in reshaping the orders into a true fighting force. She considers the nation of Signar to be both inherently flawed and a bastion of heretical Morrowind teachings. That such a government would ever claim authority over the Protectorate galled her, and she was glad to enter the Great Crusade when it was declared. Feora holds her people to high standards of discipline she herself exemplifies. She is a capricious commander, but because her actions mirror her words, she is respected by her troops. As one might expect from such a driven and intense individual, Feora prefers to lead from the front, entering the fray with a zealot's righteousness, and laying purifying flame upon the wicked with fists fueled by her warcaster armor. Powerful though she is, Feora has one significant fault. Her ambition and intolerance of disobedience has made her so possessive of power that she trusts no one else, and has long resented those of higher station. Her promotions through the Flame Guard ranks has seen her become increasingly distant as she cements her hold on the Order. In truth, the Temple Flame Guard answers to her alone, and it may be only a matter of time before Feora begins to believe herself the Protectorate's true leader. And that would be a problem because, well, I suppose in Protectorate stuff, people that fall to that type of folly, unless the Harbinger says, hey, you're going to be the leader, I feel like that would cause some kind of, civil war inside the Protectorate Church. And I imagine that's probably happened before. But yeah, with her type of flaming ambition, yeah, that could be a huge problem. But we'll see how that plays out, shall we? But let's go check out her Mark 3 to Mark 4 and see what's changed. And as always, we'll start with her stats, which have changed a little bit. She's still a speed 6, still a magic user of 6, and still has her control range of 12. However, her mat has gone up from a 6 to a 7 in Mark 4, and her rat has gone up from a 5 to a 6, making her a little bit better a melee combatant. Her defense is still a 15, so crazy high defense. Her arm is still a 17, and she's still immune to fire, so that is fantastic for her. And then her abilities have changed slightly. So she still has her veteran leader of Flame Guard. So all Flame Guard within 10 inches of her gain +1 to their attack rolls. And what they gave her in her abilities is something called Whip of the Flames. Models suffering fire continuous effect while in this model's control range suffer -2 to their attacks. So basically giving these guys almost a melee concealment. Or actually that's a little bit better than concealment, because that works for both melee and ranged attacks. So, well, at least while they're in her control range. So that is awesome. Or terrifying, depending on if you're going up against her. And then it looks like her feat, Scorched Earth, has gotten better in Mark 4. Originally, Scorched Earth just caused all enemies in her control range to catch on fire. But now, it not only causes all of her enemies within her control range to catch on fire, it also, all friendly warjacks can now charge enemies who are suffering from the fire continuous effect without spending focus. And that is a charge and powerful slam attack. So, yeah, that's just adding insult to injury. You're already on fire, now you're going to be hit by a warjack for free. But let's check out her weapons. Alrighty, well, still, her weapons are basically the same. She still has 2 flamethrowers, both with continuous fire and a spray 8 POW 12 guns. And then her truth and consequences are, well, it looks like they've been nerfed slightly. No, they haven't been nerfed slightly. Sorry, misread. They still have the critical fire effect, and they are still a Mat 7. And in Mark 4, they're now a 1-inch reach instead of a half-inch reach because everything's 1-inch reach now. And they're still a POW 13, so a little bit better, a little bit longer distance you can start swinging. And with her dual attack and having Gunfighter in Mark 4 on her flamethrowers, she can use those in melee now as well. So yeah, she can catch a lot of things on fire very quickly and cause all sorts of chaos on the field, especially if her enemies do not have immunities to fire. But I imagine if you're going up against the Protectorate, why wouldn't you have immunities to fire, even though it's very rare to have immunities to fire and flame? Yeah. Well, let's see her spell list and see what's changed. And it appears all of her spells have changed, although some of them are very similar to other spells that work a little bit more conveniently. But yeah, it appears that Blazing Effigy has been taken off, Dauntless Resolve has been taken off, Engine of Destruction has been taken off, Hex Hammer has been taken off, Ignite is now gone, and Wall of Fire is now gone. But let's see what replaces them. So she was given Avenging Force, cost 2, it's a self-control upkeepable. If one or more friendly models, or one or more friendly faction warrior models were damaged by an enemy attack in the spellcaster's control range during your maintenance phase, you can move, or you can have a model in your battle group move up 3 inches and take a swing, and that's upkeepable, and that's everybody. So it basically gives all of your guys Avenging Force, well, all the battle Warjacks Avenging Force, which would kind of be good if you had a lot of Warjacks. Then another spell they added to her was Convection. So when Convection destroys a living enemy model, you can give 1 focus point to a Warjack in your battle group. Then we have Fire Step, which is kind of like the Blazing Effigy, but with Fire Step, enemy models currently within 2 of the spellcaster suffer a Power 13 damage roll, and after the attack is resolved, place the spellcaster completely within 2 of their current locations, so you can jump her around. But you can only use it once per activation. But a Power 13 usually can do a lot of damage to a unit model type, not as much to a Warjack, but I don't know, catching or lighting people up is kind of always nice. And then, well, actually, it doesn't look like she lost Hex Hammer. She still has Hex Hammer, so sorry, just misreading that. When an enemy model declares it is casting a spell while in this model's control range, the enemy spellcaster immediately suffers a D3 points. If the enemy spellcaster is destroyed from this damage, the spell does not take effect, which is basically the same as the original Hex. And then we have Insight. Insight is actually a neat spell. So what Insight does, it's a very expensive spell. It costs 4, so it's basic like a little mini feat. But friendly faction models gain +2 to attack and damage rolls against enemy models while the enemy models are within 10 of the spellcaster. Which, if she's a front fighter, she's always on the front line, she will usually be within 10 of most things. So yeah, giving everybody, and it's not just warrior models, not just Warjacks, every friendly faction model gains +2 to their attacks and damage rolls, including herself. So that gets her up to a flames of 14 and a punching fist of 15 and a mat of 9. So yeah, even her becomes like a small miniature Warjack who is very accurate at hitting things. So yeah, so she got way more dangerous with certain spells, and even though she lost her Wall of Fire, which is always nice. And I imagine Ignite was the original spell that they had, and that got replaced with Insight, which is way better in my opinion, just because it affects everybody. It just doesn't give everybody the critical fire effect. So that is what it is.